I have no idea how it's gonna turn out.
Me neither. We're traveling back in time.
Welcome to the Cardmarket feature match.
Carl, you know what's really hard these days?
No, Yamin.
Finding footage of really old Magic tournaments.
Yeah, they didn't post a lot of stuff back then. Every page took about a minute to load. You had to listen to dying robots screaming for 20 seconds
For
just to
some
get
reason,
there.
my Twitter timeline doesn't go that far back. And I wasn't even around for most of them. I'm too young.
So?
Yeah, we brought in older people.
Than us. Yes, one of them is Hall of Famer Frank Karsten.
And the other one is our very own mythic champion, Torov Toffel Severin.
Playing decks from 1996. It's a really rare occasion. It's actually really exciting.
It is very exciting, so let's get right into it.
Hey, I'm Frank Karsten, and when I started playing back in 1997, one of the first competitive decks that I saw, back then in paper magazines, were the ones from the 1997 World Championship. Today I'll be playing the Mono Green deck, affectionately known as Senior Stompy, which was piloted to the top 4 by Sven Geertsen from Denmark. The deck is filled to the brim with creatures, and the only non-creature spells are Giant Growth, Bounty of the Hunt, and very powerful Winter Orb. The land count is a bit low, just 16 forests and 2 Heart of Yavimaya, but hopefully I can really show what this is capable of. Let's get to it.
Today I'm playing the Jeskai control deck from the 1997 World Championship. Wow, this was back in the days where spells were overpowered and creatures were, well, not, which is bad. And we play an assortment of insane spells that are still on rage today. We play Incinerate, Swords to Plowshares, Counterspell, Force of Will, you name it. But unfortunately our creatures are kind of bad, so winning might take, well, the long road to actually finish the game. But that's fine. I mean, as long as we're not losing, we're winning games, so that's basically our deck. Good spells, rest will somehow work out. This is around, I mean, this is 97, right?
Yes.
This is not around the time I started, but it's quite close, and it plays a lot of cards I played as a kid as well.
1997 is when I started playing the game,
Yeah.
and I remember actually the deck that I'm playing as like a deck that I looked through, one of the first like competitive decks that I saw, and was like amazed at all the card choices, and it really added to the depth of the game. Right? That said, I've never actually played with the deck. Right back then it was just cards I owned, but here
I'm excited, yeah. High roll?
Okay.
Definitely.
Not very high. Okay, I'll play first.
Have fun.
For sure. Good luck and fun. I'm excited to actually play with this deck after all those years.
Wow.
My opening hand is pretty good. I have 2 lands, that's just perfect, along with a mana curve. I have a 1 mana creature, a 2 mana creature, and even the powerful Winter Orb that can potentially lock Thoralf out of the game pretty much. I'll keep.
The starting hand has one of my favorite cards, which I didn't get to play since forever basically, the Glaciers. Glaciers makes every hand basically that has a different land other than Glaciers keepable, because you get so much value out of using it over and over again. It gets back to your hand, so you basically never run out of land drops. And for a control deck to never run out of land drops, that also fixes your mana. You can play all the other spells in your hand. We have Counterspell, we have Abeyance. This is pretty good. It can't really get any better. Alright, yes, looks like a great hand.
Alright, we're starting with turn 1 Gasban Ogre. So it's a 2/2. During my upkeep, if a player has more life than any other, he or she gains control of Gasban Ogre. Well,
So currently I have to bolt you. That's basically, that would be
I don't think Lightning Bolt was legal in this particular tournament. But yeah, if you would untap and Lightning Bolt me, then here you go.
Good job.
Yeah. These were the creatures from back then, yeah.
Alright, draw. Okay, we are gonna start off with a card I played a lot in Highlanders back then. Flooring Glaciers. This is quite interesting because it also changed a lot how it worked over time. It comes in play tapped. I can search my library for a basic land and put it into play tapped. So it's kind of an evolving wilds, which is a bit like it comes in play tapped and then, but instead of sacrificing goes to my hand. But the ruling said at end of turn, return it to my hand. So what I could do was if I use it end of turn, then it would go into my next end of turn to my hand, so I could use it again, which was somewhat even ramping, because then you could play a second land drop. Crazy land.
As you said, the rules changed over time. I'm not even entirely sure
I think
what rules they were using in 1997, but let's do it with the way you can activate it twice in a turn cycle before it returns.
And
that's
obviously
what make
the
it, make it
fixing
good.
is crazy for back then, because there was basically no fixing. Go ahead.
Yeah, the dual lands were not legal in this.
I'm even
this
playing
format,
one
I'm
of the
pretty sure.
lands, which is like, if you look at the lands, it's like you're actually playing this for fixing. It's Undiscovered Paradise. Let me show that. It's like you have to return. It's like, wow.
All right.
Yes.
First blood.
18.
Yeah.
Now you keep it forever, basically.
Yeah, like this is if you get to deal some early damage, then I always stay with it. And my next beater is Spectral Bears.
What is it, 3/3?
It is so 3/3 for 2 mana.
That's great.
That's good.
Yeah.
But you know, nowadays we have 3/3s for 2 mana, and they usually get some upsides, like extra benefits. No. Back in the days, they had to come with like a humongous downside. So if Spectral Bears is declared as an attacker and defending player controls no black cards, it does not untap during your next untap phase.
But to be fair, 3/3 is just way too powerful, so I'm using my So I'm pitching a counterspell to my force. I'm going to 17.
Yep.
And we're gonna kill the bears. Too
You know,
powerful.
I think this exchange perfectly encapsulates Magic from back in the days. Like, completely underpowered creatures with enormous drawbacks. Like, you would not play these in, like, even standard decks nowadays.
No.
And completely overpowered spells, like a counterspell of Force of Will. You even see those in, like, old formats nowadays still.
But to be fair, like, Force of Will doesn't seem too powerful if you have to force one of those cards.
Yep.
Obviously, if you go to the point where you Force of Will, like a combo, like Show and Tell and stuff, that's
Yep.
more of a natural thing. All right, draw. I'm gonna play Mountain, and I'm gonna say it's your turn.
All right. Well, still have the highest life total. Well, swing in.
15.
Quirion Ranger.
Ooh, yes.
The downside of returning a forest, or at least it seems like a downside, is actually going to turn into an upside, because I'm going to return this forest to my hand, untap, I don't know, the Godman Ogre. I don't really care about the untap, but this allows me to then play a land. Well, why not? Winter Orb.
Yonk.
Winter Orb is an unfair Magic card. Back in the days, these land denial strategies were actually quite prevalent, but hey, I'm here in an attempt to try to win the game. I hope that Torov will not cast any spells. It's mean, but that is Magic. So this is the fun police on the battlefield.
Can I have the force back? Players only untap one land.
Every untap step, yes. Like back in the days, this was also combined with ways to tap your own Winter Orb, I think, because way back the rules were such that these artifacts only worked when they were untapped. So you would see this with like Icy Manipulator,
Which was naturally implied from the artifact itself.
Yeah,
it wouldn't say.
Yeah.
Okay, that's gonna be a major problem. Good. Yeah, I mean, playing it just tapped also is horrible. Yeah, no, let's do it end of turn. And get myself a plains. Tapped. Yeah. And for my next trick, I'm gonna untap one land.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's painful. Winter Orb is a problem. Like, as you might have seen, we want to use all the mana all the time. Even though our spells are cheap, it's still quite expensive to deal with all the creatures, and I still want to deploy my own creatures. The good thing about Winter Orb is, now that I have swords, I don't have to think about playing it Frank's turn, because I can't untap the plains anyway. I have to deal with untapping all the other lands as well. So I don't have to make the decision. Now I just postpone it to my turn or Frank's next turn, and I can choose the best target. All right, we'll untap a plains.
Okay.
And draw a card. Okay, I will play an island. And then it's your turn, and at end of turn I will return a divination.
Yes. Okay, so I untap one forest, also affects me. Attack you with both.
I will accept this.
Okay.
12.
So I'll return the forest to hand, untap, I don't know, the ogre. Now it's untapped.
Yeah.
And I'll add Whirling Dervish. Perhaps not really meant for this matchup, given that it has protection from black, but it's a 1/1 that whenever it damages an opponent, put up the +1/+1 counter on it at the end of turn.
All right. That works.
Yep, go ahead.
I will not choose to do anything, as it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I assume that using the mana on my turn or on your turn, it's
As
the
long
same.
as I untap a land, I can still use it. Let's highlight one of the most problematic card, I think, of this time and era. We play Mountain and play a Frenetic Ifrit. So it looks like a 2/1 flyer, but I can choose to flip a coin basically at any point in time. If I win the flip, it phases out. So phasing out is it goes back, it comes like exiling a little bit. Which means if you want to destroy it, which you can't, but I can try to rescue it 50% of the time. Now,
I like those odds.
we play with damage on stack. It didn't happen yet, but we play old rules.
Actually,
No?
damage on the stack was introduced with, I
So it doesn't
believe,
even-
the 6th edition, which came in like 1999. We're really old school, and I don't think damage on the stack even existed back then.
So, okay, you can't even block with it and rescue it. That's how it works. It just dies as well.
A couple years later you could, but
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
playing
no,
like-
no, but right now I cannot block, then put damage on stack, and then flip it.
I don't think that was a thing back then.
So I just have a very overpriced block. So that was why the card was really absurd, because you could just block anything and then actually rescue it. But I guess this one is fine then. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, we're untapping one land again.
I wish I had a Korean Ranger.
Well, I'm definitely attacking. I'm just wondering if I even want to attack with the Korean Ranger.
Oh, it's too good.
I think I'll keep it around and just attack with these two.
Now this might be a bit weird then, but I will block probably this one as it's the biggest, right? Like it will become.
Would become the biggest, makes sense.
And we're gonna take 2. Rescuing now doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, you would then have a 50% chance of losing it and a 50% chance of trying to make the same trade next turn.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
there's no reason to.
Yeah, because in 1997 damage just happens, basically as it does today.
Yeah. Do something.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yep.
Then post-combat I'll return the forest, right? Untap, play forest. If I put the Rogue Elephant onto the battlefield, then I would lose a forest, and that would prevent me from casting all of these more expensive creatures. So I'm gonna hold off for now and, well, maybe cast Rogue Elephant after I have used my forest to cast the other creatures from my hand. And I'll pass the turn.
Same procedure. I don't need to do anything. I play an island and pass the turn.
All right. So I'm going to tap a forest for mana, return it to hand, untapping whatever, replay the forest. So now we have access to 3 mana. Da 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 da! Here comes the big play. It's a 2/2. So basically, this is a 2/2 that cannot be the target of spells or effects. It has flanking, which means that if it gets blocked by something else, then that blocker gets -1/-1. But yeah, you cannot target it. I cannot giant growth it either. And at the core, it's a 3 mana 2/2. That's just the creatures from back in the days.
The best we had. You know?
Yep. World Championship Top 4 level. And swing in.
I go to 7.
Go.
Okay, this is painful. I will untap an island and draw. Oh, we just talked about. You have your Korean Ranger. I have my own Korean Ranger. I play Undiscovered Paradise, which basically gives me now an land drop every turn. So you think that would be a downside, right? Of adding 1 mana and then at the beginning of your next untap, you have to return it to your hand. But now just I have a land drop every turn.
Ultimate tech against the Winter Orb. Wow.
And naturally, I mean, what you do against the onslaught of big creatures, you play the biggest wall ever.
It's a 4 mana 2/4.
Yeah.
It is far overpowered.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you want to do, but this is basically Emrakul. Back in the days, Emrakul. Go ahead. I chose to let the Paradise untapped because if I leave a plains on tap for the swords I want to play, then it's kind of telegraphing in case there might be some pump spells, which I assume there are in this deck. I'm not certain that this deck plus just bad creatures. And I think this is fine, and hopefully Frank tries to play a pump spell once I block.
Alright, I have no clue how I'm ever going to attack this game anymore. Ooh, I drew Harvest Worm, that is awesome. Now I can take away the downside of Rogue Elephant and just keep that forest around. That is a great draw. This was such a sweet combo that really captivated me as a player way back in the days. Now I can actually pull it off. I'm gonna return a forest to hand, untapping, I don't know, the ogre, it doesn't really matter. Play it. Yeah, there's a Rogue Elephant. So 3/3 for 1 mana, that actually sounds very good, but obviously there's gonna be an enormous drawback. I have to sacrifice a forest.
Yeah.
But we did add a relevant creature to the battlefield. Go!
Okay, at end of turn, since I do want to return my Paradise, and I also feel you kind of need all the lands, I'm gonna throw it to Ranger.
No!
So you go to 21.
Alright. Losing the Quirion Ranger is actually a big miss. Now I may not even be able to cast a Harvest Worm from my hand. I'm locked out at like 1 land. Maybe I will never be able to play any more spells. Ay. This could get problematic.
Then I will untap an island and return my Paradise. And play a Paradise and pass the turn.
True. I'll add a Gasban Ogre.
But I think it's still too strong. Yeah, we have to count this spell. 1 drop.
Alright. Ogre down. And I'll attack with these 2.
Ah, that makes counting spell worse. Yep, we take 2. We go to 5.
Go!
I should not have countered, I guess. Return Undiscovered Paradise. And untap Plains, I guess. Draw. I will play a Paradise. Go. That's bad.
Yes, I drew the forest. Okay, now I can finally replay the Harvest Worm, get back the land. Oh, this feels like a big relief. Alright, let's continue the beatdown.
That's all.
Everything this time.
I'm at 5, so
Yep.
I have to block the Rogue Elephant.
No effects?
And then I will use the Emissary's ability to give it +1/+1.
Yep.
Okay, I go
It's
to
done.
1.
Yep. And here comes the beautiful combo with Rogue Elephant. It's a Harvest Worm. It's a 3/2 for 2. When it enters the battlefield, I have to get a basic land back from my graveyard, or I just have to sacrifice it. But
The upside?
yeah, the Rogue Elephant
Crazy.
enabled it. There we go.
Yes.
Go.
Wow. Alright, we're gonna untap a mountain, return Paradise, draw a card. Beautiful. No, it's just too much. I can't do anything. The creatures are too strong.
Yeah.
Sideboarding is actually not that difficult. We have many spells that we don't want. The Abeyance is kind of useless except for some very fringe cases where you can stop 1 time the Quirion Ranger and the River Boa and whatever comes. So it just goes out. And the Ifrits are, well, they're a way to win, but in the end, when we get to a point where we win anyways. Our spells are too strong. So we're gonna board out those. What we get in is actually insanely powerful. We get Earthquake. I mean, that's just the wrath for Frank's board for probably 2 or 3 mana. And it's scalable, and it's just the best card. I really hope to draw any, like 1 copy or 2 copies every game now. Also, and this might be a bit interesting, we saw how problematic Winter Orb is against this deck. I mean, I basically just lost because of Winter Orb. Back then, because games were kind of slow, the creatures were bad, the remove spells are good, you could afford to get some shaky sideboarding some one-offs for some one-offs, as in this case we board Disenchant to get rid of the Winter Up, because even if you draw it, there might be a point in the game where you can still apply it, and even if you don't draw it, it's not that difficult to still win with one card down even if you never play it. You don't have real way to loot it away, like it's stuck in your hand, but since the other spells are so powerful and you can kind of get around by not using the card, I think it's still an easy sideboard, and hopefully we're gonna catch one Winter Orb with it. And on the last card, I decided to board in the Outpost. It's not really good against Winter Orb, actually it's kind of really bad, but if we get to a point where there is no Winter Orb, creating a 1/1 every turn, I mean, my opponent plays like 2/2s for 3 mana. How is this land not insane in this matchup, right?
So I'm just gonna make a few tweaks while sideboarding. Uktabi Orangutan doesn't seem great in this matchup because I haven't seen any artifacts from Thorolf. Instead, I'm bringing in Riverboa. It'll attack, it'll potentially regenerate, and more importantly, it has Island Walk, so it may allow me to get past bigger blockers that Thorolf puts out. Game 2?
Yeah. Interesting. My hand is a bit shaky on the mana. I mean, we do have islands, but we also have the Paradise, which creates every other color, but then I need to return it, which, as we saw, could be a bonus, so I'm not even bad at that one. But also my spells are so cheap and so efficient that I don't mind taking it to my hand every turn, because it's not that I really use a lot of the mana all the time, but I can just play it again, and it's gonna be fine. I can cast all my spells. That's all I want, really.
2 lands again, which is perfect, along with a Vidhorn Elves, and multiple creatures that I can cast, plus the Winter Orb that was so awesome in the first game. The only downside is that I have Harvest Worm with no way of getting a land into the graveyard, but I'll take it. I'm happy with this opening hand. Definitely a keep.
Back then also Magic wasn't over, and like even when you're hyper aggressive, it wasn't over in turn 3.
Yeah, games definitely took quite a bit longer with just when creatures are underpowered, the games last longer for sure.
Yeah. I mean, are they underpowered? 1 mana 3/3 that just sacrifices.
And there were good combos.
Island, go. This is Magic as intended.
The one creature in the deck is actually quite powerful. We would also play this today. It's Vidhorn Elves. You know, we know Lanora Elves, we know Elvish Mystic. Yeah, this is another variant.
Yeah, I mean, this is arguably too strong for Modern Standard.
No?
Alright,
Go ahead.
pretty strong start. Draw. I will play an Undiscovered Paradise and sleep.
Alright. So, I got, there's the Gasban Ogre again.
Okay.
And a Riverboa. We're curving out nicely.
Island Walk. Okay.
Island Walk, it's a 2/1 Island Walk that can regenerate for 1 green mana. Regenerate is also an ability that we don't really see printed on modern cards anymore,
don't think it is.
but it basically takes off the damage, prevents it from dying, and takes it out of combat.
Riverboa specifically was very strong.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember that annoying.
that was an efficient card for sure.
Okay, I'm not sure if this is intended. I mean, it is intended because I'm gonna play it now, but that Incinerate is gonna be supreme. Wow. I imagine, this is crazy. Like you play a 2 mana burn spell that takes over a creature and basically wrecks the whole board. Crazy. But, you've walked right into my trap. What's your life total?
Oh no, no! 20.
Mad. It's not 20. So when does it trigger doing your upkeep? Oh yeah, okay.
Yes.
So that works, but
Okay.
oh, I even get it untapped. How nice.
Yep.
All right, I still have to unfortunately use my Paradise for it, but that's okay. We're gonna return it to my hand. Draw. We're gonna go with an island and pass the turn.
Yes, I think toast is an accurate description. You now gain control of the ogre. Huh.
Cool.
Fascinating. Okay, well, the Riverboa can still attack because that has Island Walk. So, get you for 2.
Which does not put me under 17, so I accept.
This turns the whole game on its head. It's like a mini game in one
It's
card.
a free. So I basically a 2 mana control magic that also dealt 3 damage.
That is pretty good.
I would say even for those standards, that's pretty good, yeah.
Okay, so I have been lamenting some of the creatures we've played so far.
Okay.
But what do you think I might get for 4 mana? What do you think I'm gonna get? Like
there- no,
3/3, 4/4?
Is there the Yuzumjin? Is it in the deck? No.
Erdumjin?
Erdumjin, yeah.
It's not in the deck.
But that's the only card I remember for 4.
No, it's just a 0/1.
Oh, no golf.
Yeah,
They're all creature cards in our graveyard. Yeah, 0/1 is not the strongest.
So I think this is what inspired Tarmogoyf,
Yeah.
which has been the king of modern for many years. Hopefully this will grow a bit later. It's already on the battlefield though. If it resolves,
It does.
okay,
Does.
go ahead.
I will cast an impulse.
Sure.
You see? Also staple. Today, back then, crazy stuff.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4. So I guess, yeah, let's take this one as it's basically unkillable. Impulse resolves. Untap. I still have more life.
Yep. Do you know, by the way, that the original printing of Impulse actually forced you to shuffle after putting the cards on the bottom?
Did you actually have to do it because it's written on there, or they just said ignore the part?
No, I think for a little bit, the card said you shuffle, so you were supposed to shuffle.
Yeah.
But I believe it was errata fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just one of the weird, perhaps misprints of back in the days, or like wrong wording.
Yeah, this was crazy. All right. I think this is a good proposition of playing. This might go down as the best Earthquake for 1 in the history of the universe, so I'm not gonna say no to that. So this is very strong, it needs to go. We'll play Earthquake for 1, which naturally also...
No!
Bye-bye.
All right.
Also no regeneration, so we each take 1. I go to 17, you go to 16.
Yep.
And then, well, who's the beat on here? I need to increase my lead. Go ahead. I think that was pretty good.
I have to agree. Wow, that Earthquake was a beating. I lost my entire board, and I'm also thinking, maybe I should have played around it by keeping up regeneration mana for the River Boa, perhaps keeping the Lurgoyf in hand until it would be bigger. But yeah, this is an absolute blowout. I'm devastated. My board is reduced to 0.
So now casting Logo would be a good idea.
Yes, maybe I should have kept it in hand and kept up mana for the regeneration of the Boa, but yeah, I didn't do that. I did not play around Earthquake.
We also play like it's 1997. Back then, there were no strategy magic website. How do so you played early enough to not have internet influence any of what you did for tournaments, right?
Like when I started playing, that was then around 1998, let's say my first actual tournament, give or take. We did have the dojo, that was like a magic website that existed where people submitted articles and developed the theory behind the game a little bit. But this was also back in the days where like I had to like use a dial-up modem to access it, and then my exactly. Also, like YouTube hadn't even been invented, or Twitch or anything of the sort. So watching gameplay of other people, no, that was just not available. We were going by tournament reports and play-by-plays.
I mean, Wizards coverage was a lot of written, like big tournament stuff. We actually read through the games.
Yeah.
Unimaginably slow.
Yeah, and speaking of back in the days, meanwhile I'm just going to cast Spectral Bears. We've seen that one before, and yeah, let's just drop it. Here's the Winter Orb.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I untap this and return Paradise. And draw. So we're gonna play it again and then use it. Also, Swords to Plowshares is a bit awkward if I want to keep it. We will incinerate the Spectral.
Okay.
And then attack for 2.
Yep, you got it.
Go to 12.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Untap 1 land.
How does it feel?
For my deck, it doesn't hurt it so much because most of my cards cost 1 mana. For example, here is a Fedorn Elf. But also going back into the days, what are these things around our cards? It's like sleeves. At least when I started playing Magic, just kitchen table, like we just played sleeveless. And I also have seen like footage of like very old tournaments before my my time, where people just played like unsleeved Black Lotus, shuffle it up, no problem.
The first World Championship or something, or one of those has like footage, and you see them tapping like the Tundras. It's like click, they rip them sleeveless from the top. It hurts.
And I remember even in 2005, when I made the top 8 of like World Championships, we were asked to play the top 8 sleeveless.
They made you unsleeved, yes.
Yeah, and I had to like fetch certain like unmarked versions of cards
Was
the
that
day
your
before.
responsibility?
Yes, I think so.
Wow,
And it was because otherwise there would be too much glare on the camera. The technology was different, and we were all like playing sleeveless.
This is great. I mean, once you make top 8 of Worlds, I assume you don't really care about damaging your cards at that point.
No, it was also just a norm. But in any case, go ahead.
All right, we'll do the same tricks.
Yep.
Return Paradise, untap my island, draw, attack for 2,
Take it.
and then play. Play another Paradise and go.
Yep.
How many Paradises do you have? You keep playing it, yeah.
All right. Untap a forest. I guess we're racing. Here comes the elf.
16.
Go.
Good. Oh, I cannot use mana. Untap, draw, attack for 2, 8. And now we're gonna play an island. This Paradise really saved everything. And we're gonna up the pressure by
The biggest creature on the battlefield.
the casual 2/4. Go ahead.
Well, it's just another elf. Go.
Yeah, I untap an island and return the Paradise.
Yeah.
Draw. You're at 8.
Yes.
Alright, I'm gonna play the Paradise and Earthquake for 1.
Again?
It seemed quite fitting.
Yeah, well, there go the elves.
I like that this just basically came into play and then decided, nah, I'm not gonna stay there. I just go to my opponent. He looks like he's winning. Attack for 4.
I feel very betrayed.
You should. It's your turn.
All right, untap. All right, so in my hand I have a Harvest Worm.
Which you can cast.
Well, when it comes into play, return any basic land from your graveyard. I don't have any, or bury it.
So that means if you don't have Rogue Elephant, that card is dead.
I think there was another land that puts a land into the graveyard.
Ah, you play the lands that sacrifice for 2 mana?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But it's a little inconsistent, and I got another one. So you got this.
Yeah.
That Gasman Ogre! What did you do to me?
I mean, he just chose the right side. You know?
So I'm gonna make a few changes after seeing the second game. Lurgoyf was very unimpressive. I don't really want to spend 4 mana on a 0/1. And instead I'm gonna add City of Solitude. I figured this might actually come in handy because Thorolf has several pieces of counter magic in his deck, and City of Solitude would prevent him from casting them on my turn.
Even though I don't think I should be, I'm still afraid that you go first. To have some 3/3s or whatever's. But my answers, that's the sick part. My answers are so good. I have Swords, I have Incinerate, I have Earthquake. What can go wrong? Nothing can go wrong.
Let's see and find out.
Nothing can go wrong. Look at that hand. That hand, I don't know how to describe it. This is unbelievable. You have the Glacier, you have some more lands, you have the best removal spells, you have a one-sided wrath. I mean, not that I have any creatures, but it's basically a one-sided wrath for 2 or 3 mana. We have Swords, we even have a counter spell. There is absolutely no way, I mean, literally no way that I'm gonna lose this game. It's, how, I ask you? This is almost this is a modern hand, like this could be better than modern, crazy. All right, yeah, I keep.
So the real dream with this deck is to start with Fidorn Elf on turn 1, and then turn 2 Forest, Rogue Elephant, Harvest Worm. That is some good amount of power, sweet synergy, a spicy interaction, and my opening hand already has multiple of the required pieces. I'm keeping as well.
Okay.
My hand looks pretty good too, so...
Hit me.
Alright. I mean, I have turn 1 elf. What could go wrong?
I mean, you see, I would also be more afraid if you could actually do something relatively quick. Alright, I will just play Glaciers and say go.
Alright, we'll go for City of Solitude.
What is that?
So both players can only play instants and activate abilities on their own turns.
That's bad.
Does that resolve?
It does. It's true. I have Force in my deck. No. Yes, it does resolve. City of Solitude is actually something that annoys my play pattern a lot. So I can get rid of it. I mean, it's not like he kills me anytime soon, but it's a bit more out of line than I like to. Okay. Okay. You know?
Yeah, it does prevent you from activating the glaciers
in your turn.
my turn, and then
Yeah. Well, we draw. Thank you. Oh no. Okay, well, we're gonna play Island, and then I don't think that has any relevancy, but in the end of turn, I will use the Glacier to get a Plains, and it's your turn.
The dream is unlocked. There it is, a rogue elephant.
Yes.
Sacrifice forest.
The dream, yes.
Harvest worm, get it back.
Yeah.
Yepla.
And even
replay
untap.
the forest.
Yes.
This is beautiful. And in fact, this was actually the type of combo that I saw when I first saw the list. It's like a young Frankie having learned the game a couple months ago.
He's so
I was like,
sophisticated.
wow, this is so powerful. Like, how does anyone ever beat these two cards together?
They
That
don't
is
even
just
have
great.
a downside anymore, right?
Yeah,
the upside
exactly.
of playing the forest again, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
At the end of turn, Glacier goes to my hand.
Yep.
I will untap and draw. I feel like this city is not for this world.
Fair enough.
Go away.
Okay.
And then we play a mountain and pass the turn.
All right. So I have a Fedorn Elf in hand that I could cast, but I don't think I want to do that because I'm also holding Bounty of the Hunt. And Fedorn Elf is like the perfect card to pitch to it. I might need that pump spell if, for example, Thoralf might play Wildfire Emissary, and I need this pump spell to get my creatures past the 2/4 blocker. Swing in for 6, no 7 even.
Yeah, 7,
Yeah, yeah.
13.
This is going great. Winter Orb. Go.
No.
Oh.
I'm afraid I cannot let that happen. I will use the force. The force. Be with me. with
You're at 12?
I'm at 12.
Okay,
Right?
go ahead.
I'm tapping full. Okay, I mean, at this point, he's just walking right into my trap. He just tapped out. I can just Earthquake away the whole board. I still have so many good spells left in my hands. I mean, as the second game after the Earthquake, it's probably just over. Talking about using the force.
Again! Okay,
Earthquake for 3, which on my book seems pretty good.
normally it would be. But this force, it's actually part of a cycle. There's also a green variant. Bounty of the Hunt. I'm gonna remove a green card in my hand from the game. Let's get rid of this.
I've
This
not
elf
seen
that I
that.
saved for the occasion.
I've not seen that before.
And I get to distribute 3 counters that go away at the end of the turn. But I'd like to keep this rogue elephant and this harvest worm.
Bounty of the Hunt. I mean, who plays cards that you can play for free? Counter that. Yes. Okay. I will go down to 9.
Yep, because it
You
still
go
resolves
down
as much as
to
possible.
17.
The elf does die. Yep.
Good. That was what I was hoping.
End of turn, the counters go away. It's kind of a weird wording, but yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a pump spell, but with counters.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that went a lot worse than I wanted it to. Yeah, go. Wow. I went from there's no way I'm gonna lose. I mean, to basically losing. Yeah, I take 6. I go to 3. Crazy.
Do you know what I drew?
No, I don't want to know.
I'm playing the fun police. Another one.
No!
Sorry, Toralf. Go ahead.
I'm on 3. Okay, I untap. Maybe I find like a Black Lotus, you know? You never know what they played back then. It's an impulse. No, yeah, I'm at 3. Only thing I can sort and the rest. Well done. Wow,
GG's.
that bounty.
Yeah.
Crazy. Wow, what? I mean, what a road trip to modern age Magic. Obviously, my deck a bit less because I actually played reasonable spells. You still play in Legacy, so they're quite great. But against those green semi-good creatures, I have to say, that was a road trip.
Yeah, for sure. It's really nostalgic for me. As for spells, like my deck played 4 literal giant growth. I never drew them, I think, but yeah, like 4 giant growth just made the World Championship top 4 back then. To me, it just really brings me back to the time where I literally learned the game and started playing, you know, green cards I own at the kitchen table against friends. That is where I learned the basics of combat math, and that I still know 25 years later.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also seeing all of these cards that looked awesome back in the days and now re-evaluating them with the knowledge of today, it is like a whole experience. This was fun. Thanks for having me here.
Getting excited about the downside of the 1-mana 3/3 actually being somewhat of an upside.
Yeah. Then I actually that is one of the things that I already figured out as a young player, and that already blew my mind on how to evaluate Magic cards, because the game is so deep, and yeah, learning that hey, what looks like a downside can actually be really important upside.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is still there.
Yeah, obviously, if you want to see more of that content, maybe not the standard gameplay things, but inviting people that played close to or even back then to get some nostalgia, to get some explanation. What did cards do back then? How did decks look like? We talked a lot about how the tournament looked like without sleeves and playmats. If you like that, of course, let us know. Subscribe to the channel naturally, but also if you want to see more stuff like this or anything else that you wish for that is maybe not a standard YouTube content, but we could do for you, please write it, please post it down, because if you do it, then things get recognized. We can do more of this stuff as well. As for this, thank you, Frank, for being here, for getting us into the journey of 1997. Still amazing. And I hope to see you and you anytime soon.
See you at the next video.